Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Mike Vassallo, and this is another episode of Yeah, What's the Rate? I have my friend Alexandra Lilliquist from Douglas Elliman Sayville here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
what's
for
going
having
on?
me.
I know we had to reschedule, so thank you for making yourself available
of course,
again.
Always.
I always like to start the podcast asking how you got into real estate, because I always find it like very interesting how it came to be that someone gets into this industry that we do every day.
Yeah, so I was previously in healthcare, and I was actually applying for physician assistant school. I don't know if you know this.
No, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know this.
So I had studied healthcare in college. I was doing internships once I graduated.
Okay.
And it felt like the right thing to do to go into, some type of medical field afterwards. And I had worked through COVID, so I was just feeling like a little burnt out.
Okay.
At that point when I was applying, and at the time I was renovating an old 1901 house with my fiance. So we completely gutted it, renovated it. We were, going through that whole process, which sparked my interest in real estate.
Okay.
So, I thought, let me just make a big change, dive right in, try something completely new. And I have not looked back since making that change.
I find a lot of people it ends up it's not something that you come out of college or whatever. I want to do real estate. I want to do mortgages. It's like something that you kind of to stumble upon. Everybody's story is kind of different how it came to be. But yes, I could definitely see the interest of we flipped a house out east, and just the fact of doing the renovations and the ideas of, moving this wall or doing this or doing that. It was like, oh my God, I would really almost love to do this and not even do what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't know unless you did it.
Unless you tried it.
You kind of stumble across it or whatever.
Yeah.
So
we took walls down, we changed staircases, we added bathrooms, added square footage.
That's awesome.
And now it's kind of cool that I can show a house and I'm like, oh, I see this vision for, we can take this down, or if you need more space here, I have a vision, that
you could show a buyer or something that it might not be the exact layout that they want, but if you had that to be able to kind of paint that picture for them that maybe you can do this or that to make it more to what their liking is. That's huge. Yeah.
And it's fun and it's creative, and I just feel like it was a really good fit for me. Awesome. Personally and professionally.
Right. Now, with the job with the medical aspect of it, you weren't in sales, though, at that point.
I was not in sales. So I actually, when I decided I wanted to go into real estate, I had no sales background or experience, other than just the fact that I can communicate with people and build relationships with people.
That's 95% of the business, though, right? You can learn everything else.
Yeah, so I felt confident trying something like real estate, because I was like, all right, I can talk to people, I can, build a relationship with someone, I can talk to a brick wall. I can talk to, exactly. I can talk to a camera with no person behind it.
Right. That's 99% of the business, though, I find. You could learn the other things. You could be taught those things, experiences and everything like that. But if you can't do this, what we're doing now, and communicate with somebody,
you have nothing.
You could know every real estate term, law, and program. You can know every mortgage program, debt-to-income ratio, FICO. But if you can't have a conversation with somebody, doesn't do you anything.
Right.
I wasn't in sales either. I was doing construction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was doing construction. But my mother always said, it's you talk to a wall.
Right.
And it was just one of those things where it's as time went on, through experience, you learn. And I'm still learning. 15 years later, I still don't know everything. I'll be the first person to say, but I have people in place that I can ask those questions. Yeah. Which I'm sure your offices, you have a great office.
I have
an awesome office.
Yeah. And that's another thing is Elliman has such a good training program. As soon as you sign on, it's a 2-week crash course of just Zoom calls.
Getting familiar.
Yeah, with all day. So it's great. And they actually have training anytime you want. There's Zoom calls every single day if you feel like you need to brush up on anything as well. So they provide you with all the tools to learn, just the ins and outs of real estate. But again, the communication and talking to people and just having feel, essentially.
There's no class on that.
There's no class on that.
You can't. And that's, like I said, it's half the battle. And you are very personable. So, it makes it very easy.
Yeah.
It's half the battle. Half the battle.
Yeah.
So I know, obviously, I wanted to discuss a little bit of like, so you're not from New York originally. I know that you're from Florida.
Right, yeah, from Vero Beach.
And then obviously now here you're in New York.
Yeah.
You have family that's in the real estate industry down in Florida?
I do. So my mom actually has like an insane background with sales. She's been in sales forever.
Okay.
But she was selling like radio advertising for a while. And then she did her own like media company. Now she's in real estate as of like a year ago.
Oh, wow. That's
so
awesome.
I kind of was the first to go into it. And then, I was living in Long Island, of course. But that is probably what sparked her interest in real estate.
Right.
Maybe she looked at me and thought, if my daughter can do
it,
I can do it.
Well, so sales is in your blood, even though you may not have done it. Mom has done it forever.
Right,
so.
I was conditioned to like maybe,
Yeah. My father got his real estate license 15 years ago when I got my mortgage license.
Okay.
He only had it for like a couple of years or whatever.
Yeah.
Never did a transaction or anything like that, but he thought like it would be like, Batman Robin. Like my son's the mortgage guy. I'll sell the real estate. We'll be moguls. It never came to fruition or whatever, but it was so funny that, he had done that. So. And what's kind of interesting is that there's a lot of people moving from here to Florida.
So much back and forth.
Financial Equities, we never had our Florida license, and recently we got it because we were losing business because people were like, clients that we had done loans for years ago that now were retiring and going to Florida, contacting us to do the loan down there, and we're like, we're not licensed, I can't help you, unfortunately. Yeah. So now we are over the last couple of years, and it's like we've been doing a decent amount of Florida business.
Right.
Just because, people are going.
I feel like everybody on Long Island eventually, like, they're going back and forth to Florida. Like, whether they live there or not, they're still going back and forth to Florida. The more they do, they're like, oh, this is kind of nice. Like, I could see myself living here. And eventually, they retire and they do. But what's so interesting that I'm seeing a lot is people retiring, moving to Florida, but once they have grandkids up in Long Island, coming back.
Yeah.
Moving back. And so it is great that they have someone like you that can do both of those things, because it's nice just being able to go to one place.
Well, look, it's spring for the last 3 weeks and it's been miserable, right? So, it would be nice to be able to escape to Florida for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And get away. I always say with Florida, though, in the summer, it's too hot.
Everyone on Long Island says that. And I think it's the funniest thing because I think it's equally hot on Long Island in the summer.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, it is.
I've never been to Florida in August, so I couldn't even say it. But that's what everybody says. Like,
it is hot.
But I don't know.
I just think people, like in Florida, it's obviously hotter longer.
Yes.
And so I don't know.
I prefer the heat over the cold though any day. I'll be honest with you. I would rather be. I don't want to be freezing. I hate it. I'm miserable. Like when it's cold, I'm the worst. I'd rather be sweating.
Yeah.
I go into air conditioning, go in the pool.
I know that's interesting. I obviously grew up in Florida, so I didn't get to experience seasons or anything like that. It's just hot year round.
Right.
But that's something that I loved about New York and moving to New York was that
you actually experienced
oh my God,
the seasons.
Fall foliage is like the coolest thing ever. I saw snow,
right?
For like
cool.
like I think the second time in my life when I moved to Brooklyn.
You saw snow for the first time?
I saw snow and I was like, oh my God, this is so like crazy, the coolest thing ever.
I guess we take it for granted. This is all I know.
Yeah,
the seasons is definitely a cool thing.
But now that I have to like clean my car off with from the snow.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, that's like not for me.
So in the market and stuff, obviously on the real estate end, mortgage end or whatever, it's been crazy. There's no way to really put it into terms. On a day-to-day, it's been changing.
Yeah.
So when you're speaking to your buyers, we were talking about this before, a lot of your clients that you worked with over the years, you've met through open houses.
Yes.
So working the open houses, following up with these people, seeing what they want. I always found that to be the best lead source than anything.
Yeah.
Because they're taking time out of their day to look at a house.
Yeah.
So you know that they're somewhat serious if they're coming into a house on a Saturday or Sunday to look at it.
Especially on a really nice day.
Right. You know they're serious. That might not be the specific house for them.
Yeah.
So what is what do you do on your end in terms of what does your follow-up entail when you're contacting people after going to the open house?
Yeah, so after the open house, I always just like to ask for feedback. Like, I don't want to dive right into okay, so you're going to make an offer right now? Or I like to just kind of get a feel of where they're at, what they're thinking. At that point, I can offer to show them other things that are similar or not similar. But that's a way to kind of just get a feel for what they need and what their needs are. And just continue to build a relationship because I'm meeting them face to face at the open house, which is great. But it's like, how do you continue to keep getting in touch with them so they don't forget about you? So
out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. So, and then from there, while I have them on the phone, I'll try to set up an appointment right there. Like, I'm like, okay, what about this one at this address? We can go Wednesday at 3:00, you know? Right. So just trying to like set appointments.
Keep the momentum going.
Keep the momentum and almost like keep them excited about seeing houses. Because if they don't love that house, maybe now they're a little discouraged from the open house and you kind of have to keep them like on track.
Focused. And sounds right. I mean, also I find a lot of people go to the open house and, they're not even pre-approved.
Right.
So now they go to the open house. They found out that the open house that they were in, after now speaking to me, they shouldn't have even been walking into that house based off of their finances and things like that.
Right.
So now it sets the bar. Well, you shouldn't be looking here. You need to be looking there.
Yes.
Now it changes everything that they've been doing.
Exactly. And that's something at the beginning of my career that I struggled with was when people came into the open house. I would like shy away from asking important questions because I didn't want to come across like too pushy or like too in their business. But you know what I found out is that buyers, they're looking for someone to guide them.
They don't know.
Right.
Yeah, they
don't know. Like you just said,
a
lot of the time they shouldn't even be at the open house because they're not pre-approved. They don't, they just have their ducks are not in a row.
Yeah.
So now I'm finding like, they come into the open house, you greet them, of course, but you kind of dive right in and you like get to business and ask them, A, B, C, are you ready? What are you looking for?
Right.
They appreciate that and they want to work with you more when you are guiding them. And providing value. Mm-hmm. So that's helped me a lot, with
And I feel like a lot of people don't do that with the open houses.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, does everyone really call up the sign-in sheet and really follow up? Or do some agents are really just more focused on selling that house that they're doing the listing for?
Yeah.
And they're not really worried about building. I guess the biggest conversation is a shortage of inventory. So the buyers are in abundance, which is great, but then there's no houses to sell them. So working with a buyer in this market could be exhausting because, when they do find the house that they love, now it's like, what do we do to even make the offer as strong as possible to get the offer accepted?
Yeah.
Or how much over the asking price we need to go to even get it.
I know.
Clients are putting offers in $40, $50, $60, $80, $100,000 over the asking price and still not getting it.
As like the baseline. And buyers are so shook when I say to them for the first time, if they're making an offer for the first time, I'm like, this is the list price, but realistically,
getting it.
You need to be at least $50,000 to $70,000 over ask, even if you have cash, even if it's cash. I mean.
It's a wild market. I mean, I remember. You would like the list price was $600. You go in at $575.
Yeah.
Then they would come back at $590.
Right.
You'd whatever. You'd
get it
you
for
had
leverage.
You played the game.
Right.
Now it's like take it or leave it, highest and best. See you later. On to the next.
I know.
And you're like, holy smokes.
I know.
And it's been like this since COVID.
Right.
And then on Friday, depending on when this airs.
Right.
But on Friday, with the tariff rules that went into effect, the 10-year Treasury bond dropped to the lowest it's been in a very long time.
Right.
Which made the rates drop.
Yeah.
And then I was telling you before, within 24 hours by Monday morning, shot right back up.
Yeah.
It is now higher than it even was last week.
Yeah.
We're basically back. Like it's unbelievable. So there's no stability.
Right.
So someone that got pre-approved last week or on Friday, let's say, when the rates were X, they speak to that loan officer today. Totally different payment. It's a totally different everything.
Right.
So there's been no stability or consistency whatsoever.
Yeah. And I think that's why there's still a lot of buyers on the sideline. Like there's a ton of buyers now, but there's still a whole other bracket of buyers that are on the sideline because of the uncertainty. So it's like, what is it going to be like in, I don't know, a year?
I don't know. Yeah. And now if the rates go down, theoretically, usually when rates go down, then prices go up.
Right.
How much more can they really go up?
Right, I know.
But they keep going up. So it's like you really don't know how to guide or educate someone coming on because it's just a matter of like what do you say to them?
Right.
Yeah, wait a year, wait 2 years, don't wait. Like
it's like it's hard because no one has a crystal ball. The president doesn't even have a crystal ball. So it's like
it'd be nice to have one of those.
It would be great. But it's just you can only do what's right for you, like in this given moment. Like you can't think too far ahead. You can't look on the past and say, "Oh man," I
find that you buy a house when you're ready in your life.
Exactly.
So it's like when they say like getting married, you just do it.
Yeah.
Like having a kid, you just do it. Like,
right.
It's not really a thing like, oh, we're going to wait till,
yeah.
this, whatever date and time or whatever.
Right.
It just, when you feel like you're ready, that's the time and you figure it out. I mean, I remember my wife and I, when we bought our first house, we were scared shitless.
Yeah.
We were like, how are we going to make this payment? We never even rented. We lived with our parents. Like, but you figured it out.
Yeah.
And that's just like anything else. So I think that's really where people are now. They're like, what do we do? Mortgage payments, when you run it now for a client, the mortgage payments are in the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, these are first time home buyers.
Right.
So it's a wild, wild time.
I know.
Pivoting a little bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about. So I know you're a volleyball player.
Yeah.
I know we've spoken about it a lot.
Yeah.
So you played in school.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I know a little bit because of Maddie. Like I said, we're in that volleyball world now and getting acclimated with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I said I love Maddie.
She's going to be one of my pupils at one point.
And she's and she's a fantastic athlete. I'm like, well, you got to grow. I'm like, you got to grow.
I know.
So every night we're stretching her out. Okay. No. But so tell us a little bit about that. So you played as a grown up as a kid. Like,
yeah.
What was that
so
like?
I actually started late, given that I played in college, but I started in 7th grade.
Okay.
I played sports before, but it was like, try everything and see what sticks.
Like. Okay.
So one day I made a friend with this girl in middle school and I went to her house and she had a volleyball and she was like, oh, let's play. And I just started playing with her, for the first time, and I was like, good.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I like this, yeah.
Okay.
So it just kind of stuck. I tried out for the school team, made it, started, tried out for a travel team, made it, started,
right.
And then it just kind of I got
Snowballed
the bug
from there. Yeah,
I got the bug, and I the house that I was living in at the time with my parents. I would hit a volleyball against the side of the house onto the roof. It would hit the gutter. The gutter would shake and all the nails were coming out of the gutter.
Yeah.
But I would be doing this hours and hours and hours a day.
So you let it roll off the roof.
I would hit it onto the roof. It would roll off the
down.
roof, bump set. I would hit it on the side of the house, pass it, set it back onto the roof.
Maddie does it in the house.
Yeah.
Against the sheetrock walls while I'm watching TV. I'm like, no, not here. Go somewhere else.
I know.
I'm going to show the roof thing. I might like this
you might like that.
I'm going to show her that. I'd rather that almost maybe than in the house.
Right. Or put find a side of the house that people can't see.
Yeah.
And just let her hit the ball against
spiking it into the couch,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from there I, went to high school, played in high school, continued travel volleyball.
Okay.
In Florida. And then, I played beach volleyball and indoor volleyball in college at Florida International University. Transferred, played at a junior college for my sophomore year. It was indoor volleyball.
This is all Florida still.
Still Florida.
Okay.
And then from there, because I was at a junior college, I had to transfer again because it's just a 2-year, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere that I've never gone to before. I kind of shut my eyes and poked a map. And I was like, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to see what that's about. So I came up for my visit to LIU Brooklyn at the beginning of March.
Okay.
Typical Florida girl has no idea what she's doing. I came in jean shorts and flip-flops.
Oh, Jesus.
So I'm standing at the JFK airport and the assistant coach, he picks me out like a sore thumb. He's like, this is
the Florida girl.
This is the girl. Here she is. So he walks up and he's like, Alex. And I was like, oh, hi,
Oh,
but committed literally that weekend. And then a couple months later, shipped up to Brooklyn.
Oh my God.
Where I played 3 years of indoor volleyball.
Okay.
And it was amazing,
That's
and
awesome.
It was so fun. It was such a culture shock living in Brooklyn,
that's what I was like. Even coming to New York and then going to Brooklyn, it's a 180. It's not like you're going to Farmingdale or something like that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It was
That's gotta be a great experience though.
It was the best experience ever.
Yeah.
And then my senior year there is when I came out to Long Island for the first time, and we went out to a winery. We did a girls trip. And I was like, I'm going to live here one day. I really feel like I am. It was so beautiful. Of course, what's not to love about the North Fork?
Beautiful, yeah.
Oh my gosh, stunning. So, I kind of manifested living here, I feel like.
And here you are.
And here I am.
Here you are.
On Long Island.
In Florida, I noticed like the high school teams, or maybe when I was in Florida, they were practicing beach volleyball. So do the schools have beach volleyball teams or no?
No, not when I was in college, but now they do.
They do. Okay.
And actually, my cousin,
they almost look like high school girls.
I know.
It almost looked, and I was like, well, Maddie was jealous. She was like, oh, this would have been awesome if in Northport they had a volleyball team.
Oh, so cool. I know. Yeah. Well, now they do. It wasn't big back then. And honestly, when I played in college, it wasn't very big back then.
Now it's huge. I feel like
now it's huge. Almost every Division I school has it, but now they have it in high schools as well. So my cousin played beach volleyball at the high school that I went to, and I'm always like, oh, I'm so jealous.
Like wish it was there
just like 10 years late.
Yeah, 10 years. That's always what ends up happening. It always happens. That's awesome. And you're still coaching now? You coach locally or train?
Yes, I coach locally at the Stony Brook School, and it's great. It's just. It's such a nice thing, obviously like real estate is my primary job, but at the end of the day, like to throw a pair of knee pads on, put my hair up and like play with the girls and coach and give back and just like teach things that, I learned throughout.
And it's a passion you have that you still are able to do now as an adult, which is cool too. A lot of times like people like, oh, I used to play this or soccer or whatever. And then as now an adult, they don't do it anymore.
Right,
so it's kind of cool that you still have the ability to stay involved with it.
Yeah, I can't jump like I used to,
okay. All right.
but I can still, hit a ball pretty hard.
All right.
But yeah, it's great, and it's such a nice balance for me, just to be able to do real estate all day, go on showings, and meet people, and then to kind of shut my brain off a little bit at night and just like focus on volleyball.
Work-life balance. There was a video I posted today. It was just like, for me, like that's what it's all about. And this industry gives us the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to Florida for a few days, or you want to do so, you want to shut it down.
Yeah.
You're still always on, and we're working.
Yeah.
But you have the flexibility.
Yeah.
And I think like life is short.
Right.
If you have the ability to spend time with your family down in Florida, even if it's for an extended weekend or whatever it may be, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
And then this is an industry that allows you to do that.
Yeah.
Where most people or friends of yours or whatnot may not have that ability.
Yeah.
So I try to make a point to take advantage of that when we can. Sometimes you can't. And
sometimes
it is what it is. But
right.
when you're able to, why not?
Yeah.
With volleyball and everything, I wanted to say, like, in terms of consistency, discipline, I feel like those things, as when growing up as a volleyball player, do you find that a lot of the things that you learned through volleyball relate to the real estate world and stuff that you find that you use on a daily basis?
Yeah. So like when I started, it was a really tough market. There was no inventory at all. So honestly, like just going from like college volleyball to starting real estate for the first time, it was very similar in that you have to like grind it out. Like you can't even see like the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's like if you just do these things day in and day out, like it will click at some point.
The benefits, you'll reap the benefits at some point.
Right.
Yes,
so it's like you just have to put your head down and just keep going and keep going and keep going. And that was the mentality with a Division I sport. It's like, eventually you're going to get there, and, you might not, have a clear vision of when that's going to happen. But, if you're confident and you're disciplined and you're just doing, the certain things that, that you need to do, then it'll come.
It'll come, yeah. And I always say, like, and if you do all of those things and then it still doesn't manifest and materialize, then that's another story.
Yeah.
But I think most people don't give it that opportunity. And it's like, you got to keep consistency.
Yeah, consistency.
And then tell me, it's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
If you go to the gym once a week or every other week or whatever, and you're like, oh, summer's coming, you're not going to see the results for summer. You have to do it every single day.
Yeah.
Then after you do it every single day and still not getting the results, well, now maybe you're doing something wrong. Right? Like, and that's why I kind of like, it's the same thing on the mortgage end and everything. It's I use seed planting. I must have said on this thing 100 times, where it's like, you're always planting seeds.
Right.
Wherever you go.
Yeah.
Whether you're playing volleyball, you're at an open house, you're in Florida, you're at CVS, anywhere I've been, mortgage is always in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Real estate is always on. I hear the word real estate. You're like, ding, 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 like.
And it's such a big part of people's lives that people want to talk about it too. Yeah. Like if you're just sitting at a bar or you're at a sporting event for one of your kids, people will ask you questions about it. Yeah. Even if they're not a client of yours right now, like maybe they'll think of you in the future.
Yeah. And I look at it like people either own a home.
Yeah.
Or someone who doesn't own a home.
Yeah.
They want to own a home, right? That's the American dream, as they say. Mm-hmm. So it really is a conversation you could have with anyone.
Right.
On any level, depending on what their situation is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my boss, Mano, she's always like, you're always a real estate agent. Everywhere you go, you're at the grocery store, you're a real estate agent. You're at the nail salon, you're a real estate agent,
It's the truth, yeah.
And so, like, even when I coach volleyball, I have, like, my Elliman sweatshirt on. Like, I'm at the gym, I have my Elliman sweatshirt on. It's just, and people do approach you and they have questions for you.
And that one time will pay, and you'll be like, you'll wear that sweatshirt every day.
Yeah. I have every color.
Yeah. I mean, I was at CVS this is years ago. At CVS, I overheard on the other aisle this guy talking about like having an issue with the mortgage and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like newer into the industry, but I was like, you know what the hell? This is a perfect time to do what everyone always said, like you're always on. So I went across and said, hey, I overheard you guys talking about, having an issue with the mortgage. And here's my card. I said, if you want me to see what I could do, let me know. A couple of days passed. I got a phone call. It was this manager from the CVS.
Wow, yeah.
I was like, holy shit. I said, all right, let's see what happens here.
Right.
Long story short, I ended up being able to do his deal.
Right.
And I closed his loan.
Amazing.
From being in CVS.
Yeah.
I think I was getting a card or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was doing. I was like, now, most of the time, you would be scared to take that leap of faith or whatever. But what's the worst the person can say? No, I'm good.
Exactly.
It's rejection. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So you have to kind of get in tune with that. Yeah. No, I'm good. I don't need any help.
Right.
Oh, I have an agent.
Right.
No, I have a lender. Okay.
Yeah, and that honestly, you brought up a great point. Like again, with like the sports to real estate, rejection is like even like in a sport, like you can practice day in and day out and still not be a starter and still not get game time. And like same thing with real estate, you can do 1,000 open houses and people can still not want to work with you, and like you just have to like kind of wear it on your chest and keep going.
But it will pay dividends at some point or another.
Right.
For some people, it's quicker.
Yeah.
For some people, it's for me, like in mortgages, I always said it was like year 3 was the year that I was like, all right, I see it. But those first year or 2 years, like it was like, holy smokes. It was like, should I do this? Should I not do this? All right, if I don't do it, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like, and then you have some people that come into the industry and depends also on timing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my alarm. This wasn't supposed to ring like this. It's okay.
Oh my gosh, have we been talking for almost half an hour?
Yeah, almost half an hour. Wow. I told you it goes by quick.
Holy crap.
But I don't even remember what I was saying. What was I saying? What was I just talking about?
I honestly, I don't know. I blacked out.
I blacked out.
I was like, you're getting a phone call.
I don't remember what I was saying, but the point of it is just you just got to keep at it. That's it. No matter what it is, whether it's real estate, whether it's mortgages, whether it's, just anything in life, any goal that you're setting, you just have to keep at it.
Yeah.
And at some point or another, the pieces will fall into place.
Exactly.
It will be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks and months as we go into like this, as we call the home buying time, spring.
I know, like
I feel like it's not even. People are like, oh, now it's home. It's not. It's always like it's the winter, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's the fall, spring.
Yeah.
I don't really think that is, but I know like the cliche is like, oh, now everyone's getting their houses ready and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case, but I guess we will see. I hope so as well. Because I have buyers putting in an offer like 3, 4, 5 offers a weekend and getting nothing.
I know.
Getting nothing.
Yeah, you have to like really persevere. If you're a buyer in this market, again, like it'll come, but you just have to keep plugging away, honestly.
That's all we can do,
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on today. This was a lot of
Thank you
fun.
for having me.
I told you it wasn't bad.
It's not bad.
I know you was like,
nervous.
I don't know. I feel like that's everybody's like thing or whatever. And then it's like having a conversation with wherever. I mean, just talking, whether you're at a bar or you're here or on the phone, it's just a conversation. And I think it's a great opportunity to get people to know you on a more personal level where they may not know Alexandra Lilliquist. Now they do.
Oh,
you
that
like
was
that.
good.
I can say your name great.
I liked the
it.
flair.
I love it. There you go.
Yeah.
If you're not following us on social media, please do. You're on what? Facebook, Instagram, all of
Facebook,
those things.
Instagram, everything.
Look us up, and this
follow.
episode will air in hopefully a couple of weeks. All right, thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned.
Thank
Bye
you.
now. Bye.